All right. Sorry about that. I have some landscapers here and just trying to, just trying to shuck and jive, but I am short the 18 here with some risk out. I'm looking for a retest of the roundy to see if we can get that. Got a big move. Didn't quite get a 77 here, but obviously, look, the bears showed up. Pre-market playbook was our roadmap, played out extremely well. And then we got a really big bounce here. So let's take a look at the pre-market playbook. Where is it? There it is. So this is kind of what I was looking for, right? We got a nice pullback yesterday off the big roundy. It was all about the 850 today, which is the weekly open for the NASDAQ, right? Um, and so under the 850, 750 was what I call open or owed for a test. We're going to talk about that. And then it really accelerated. It just accelerated big time. So let's go back over here and look. And you got a big push, through weekly pivot down here to the 633. So this is how it's set up. This is below the weekly open. The 750 was owed or open based on this right here. Okay, so based on this bar right here. So the way I look at this, and again, this is just kind of my roadmap for the 1,000 handles, how we go 1,000 handles, right? So a bar close below opens the next level. We go up to this level before we go get it, right? This is a 300, almost a 300 handle pullback so far from a lower high off of all-time highs. So these higher lows have been violated now. Bears actually have something working here. Bears actually have something working here. So let's see what they can get done. All right, does that make sense to everybody? How I look at this, likewise the same right here. Bar close above the 833 opens the 912. Bar close above 912 is the gateway to the 25,000. For what it's worth, we do have bar closes above 25,000. So that means once we get back above, well, probably not this week, but once we get back above these weekly opens, we have some support from the bull side of this tape. We start to go after that stuff up there. Yeah, let me put some other levels on here. Hang on. Let's take it up to a couple more levels here. So if we convert the 106, whoops, we go to 250. If we convert 250, we go to 312. If we convert 312, we go to 333. If we convert 333, and this is the little window right here, 412, that's the gateway to the 500. And again, look, this is just based on math, but it is my madness, and you have to embrace it. It's, you have to just understand how it flows. So let's talk about how you could have taken advantage of this on like a swing basis. Based on this right here. Okay, so this was your short signal. Short signal with a target of 750, right? Consolidation, expansion, retracement, goes and gets it. How could you have done this? By shorting anywhere here, right, around the weekly open with your stop or your risk being up here, because you're wrong when it gets back up there. And you can look around at the chart and you can see how things are left hanging like this, and then you need the pullback to go get it. Left hanging, pullback to go get it, that kind of thing. So yeah, this chart, by the way, well, I'll update it on in the library because I did put the U settle is sitting right there. So look, if the bears can really hold on to this, that's kind of where we're heading, in my opinion. We're heading down to the 24,568. It makes sense to go down there and retest that. Oh boy. So it doesn't surprise me that we're just hanging out right here on weekly pivot on ES. We look where it died. So it just went up to the roundy and splat right back down. Yeah, Todd, for sure. Give me 1 second. Come on, don't stop me out. They're going to stop me out. Oh, well. So when you're in the chat room here, underneath member chat room, there's the TheoTrade library right here. Click on that, and here's all of the levels. So while we're here, let me just do this real quick. I'm just going to do it real quick. Whoops. All right, so that's the updated hourly that I just posted. So that's right there. When you click on these, the URL, the link to the chart is right up here. So you got to grab it there. All right. Let me find you guys. Man, I tell you, if you were able to hold on to a short, that was all you needed today. All right, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to lock in 6. I'm still looking for, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to lock in 7 here at 11. So I'm still looking for the 01 down here. All right, I'm gonna pull this down now. I'm gonna lock in 10 because the marker's broken. They could roll right back up there. All right, so I'm out for a plus 10. I don't know if we're gonna have anything else, but we'll see. Now, before we do anything, let's look at what we have here. Besides a failure to communicate. For me, should have held it. Anyway, we need to test the roundy here. Whenever we test an 06 from below, I always look for a back test of the roundy. We don't have that yet, so I want to see that. So really, all this did, you guys, is it found some footing. We were all sitting here, by the way. I think everybody collectively was sitting here with a bid at 26, even though this thing was coming in hot and heavy. And it's a big old swing and a miss, you guys. A big swing and a miss. 27 all the way back to 750. 750, rejection back to 700. And the move all came from right here, by the way, this 88. Well, there's our roundy. There's our roundy. So, yeah, we were all hoping for it, I think. I think a lot of us were thinking back through. But I know we were talking in the room about it. And this 26, by the way, we should have gotten a 33 here because we came from 50 down to 26, no 33. But look, this is how this thing is trying to snooker you now. So I'm not going to bite just yet because look, whoops, wrong chart, sorry. Because the problem with buying 96 here is this. Oh, well, should have held it. So let's let this bar close minimum here. Awesome, Harold. Awesome. Oh, Bears, man. Oh, Bears are showing up. The 77 should get a look here today, in this move. See, the problem right now for me is that the only setup I have is a long, and it's a counter trend trade. God dang it, dude. I should have held that 18. I let go of it because of that. But anyway, whatever. It's counter trend. It's one thing to see a big rejection, and this is just a, big old bull flag right here. Just a huge one. Let's look at it on a 5-minute chart. And it's even not that pretty on a 5-minute chart. A lot of chop here. Lots of chop. But could be construed as a bull flag. Big breakout. Right? And then these wicks kind of told you that they were reloading up here a little bit. Well, like I said, Billy, it's one of those where do you feel lucky? Right? I don't like the wicks. I think if I were going to do a 77 long here, again, very counter trend. Yeah, I'd have to do it from a 72, personally. That's just me. Let's have to wait a second here. The thing about these trades, even the 26s, right? This is lightning in a bottle right here. You don't know if you're going to catch lightning in a bottle. So when you're counter trend on anything other than a 26, I would say this. There's potential that it only owes you a bounce to the 82. And it could do that really quick on you. So, I would rather let the long set up and buy it higher personally. Does that make sense? And I just over managed the trade I was in like an idiot. I could have got a 30 handle runner out of that, man. Oh well. So nothing's really owed up here. We could say that there's a test of weekly pivot still owed down here, right? Because if we look at, and I know that I'm speaking to my people, my NASDAQians that understand my language. I'm going to show you what I mean here. So these are the signals that I use to navigate the tape, right? All moves happen from the roundies or the 50s. All moves, whether short or long. These signals here, whoops, these signals here take you from roundy to roundy. So these are all long signals. This is the first signal that indicates bearishness. And guess what? We have that. We have that signal right here. From the roundy, we've got closes below 88. So this is a little dicey here. Just a little. We'll watch it. Whoops. The problem with reshorting it right here blindly, Lewis, is this right here. Remember, we opened the 18. So at minimum, it's just really sloppy here. Okay. See this right here? Remember the little exercise we went through yesterday, talking about how we open spots? This is why I covered my short, because this bar right here tells me it's going back here, right? So if we just shorted this right here, now we're in trouble, and now we're like wanting out of the trade. The answer to your question, I think, wholeheartedly is yes, but we have to pick our spot. Where do we want to get short again? And the other thing is, when it comes to the NQ, remember, all moves occur from this roundy. So what is overall price telling us here? Rather than it's really muddy, it's really not that clear, right? The bears they have something, but they're still trying to figure out what to do with it. That's exactly right, Maida. It really is. It's telling us nothing. And when it gets in these little pockets, these little grayed out areas, that's the reason they're grayed out, because it can be kind of a no trade zone. I can't believe we got a weekly pivot test. So what I'd like to see here for confirmation, Lewis, is either a close back above the 12 or back below the roundy here. If you shorted '06, you took a lot of heat and you're probably like, hey, that kind of sucked. And well, if you shorted '06 on the Sierra chart, you would have had an escape hatch. Yeah, you want to see a back test. So anytime we test '06 from below, you want to see a back test of the roundy. That's where the clues are. It either holds and comes back through, or it falls back through. So right now, look at price, 24,700. We're in the 700 block. We have lower prices owed if 700 can go resistance, right? We have lower prices owed in the 600 block. Does that make sense? But above 700, we have stuff owed up here. So it's just as clear as mud right now. And ES looks like it's just hanging out on weekly pivot here now. It would have been much cleaner to see a 77 here. That's really nice rejection from the roundy right there. I mean, that's solid. Throughout all this, VIX is not even at 17 yet. AD is only minus 100. So if you don't think dip buyers aren't buying this, I think you're mistaken. What needs to happen is, like we were talking about yesterday, that this could morph into a multi-day pullback. You kind of want to see that, right? We look at the daily chart, we look at some of these longer time frames, they're all very extended. We took out yesterday's low with a little bit of conviction here, but we haven't even done a halfway back on this. Halfway back is 66.71. Remember, we got a big old, this is a roll gap, but it's a gap nonetheless. We have a roll gap down here. And if we start spending time doing a lower low on one of these bars, it's going to go get it. Look how far away we are from the mid band here. Way away from it. So you see what I mean here, you guys? Now you just kind of winked at the market, just kind of winked at us and said, I want to hang out above 700. I want to go get the 18 and I want to go get the 26. And maybe I want to go retest this stuff up here. All right. So we still need a roundy test here. Let's let that print and we'll buy the 06 back through. If it just keeps going, then we'll just wait. So again, I really feel like everything happens from this big old psychological levels here. I read ES the same exact way. From the roundy, if roundy rejects, naturally goes to 88. Bar closes below 88, seeks a 77. So if the ES takes out this low, I think we get a new low on the day. I think it potentially can even move all the way down to 66.70. So here's our roundy here. It's all the same stuff, Lewis, 100% all the same, right? I said the same thing about the weekly open this morning on ES. The first short that we did this morning was at 67.20 right here. A lot of traders caught that trade. That was a nice trade. And then this went belly up. 16 was a short, 16 was a short, 16 was a short. I wouldn't have been in this. You would have had to sell that lower. See, so now that kind of screws things up, right? So we're just sitting and waiting for confirmation. Oh gosh, I can't believe I don't want to talk about it. So look, let's talk about the ES real quick here, because since it's in front of us. So Lewis asked how I read it. This is how I read it. Opening range gives us the indication we're bearish, right? Let me just put this back on so we have our weekly open. So the opening range tells us we can head right here to 16. Everybody was short in 20. We shorted 20. I took a +5 there. It came back a little bit. Anyway, this is and this is where it started to accelerate. This right here is the overnight low. You see how they kind of like overshoot it, reclaim it, pause, and then that's where it goes resistance. It did the same thing yesterday. Same exact thing yesterday. This is yesterday's low right here. So if it were just a flaming dip buy, they would have defended this. They sliced through this like it wasn't even there. So there were probably some stops underneath this that got ran down. These levels are just from my daily Fibonacci. It just kept, right? You're not jumping in front of this. No way. And then now they're back above weekly pivot. And that's how we got to the roundy. And now we're just, that's where the fight is now. So the bulls have one job. The bulls have one job. And that job is to do what? Close today's candle on the daily chart above the weekly pivot. That's right. I'm speaking Hash's language now. This thing's winking at us. You got Peter talking about gator lips and and we're winking, all that good stuff. The gator lip line. I love it. So context is king, and we don't really have a setup because we can flip a coin here. We can flip a coin and say, we're going here or we're going there. If we feel like we're going there, look at all of these tests of the 82 here. And remember, all this thing does over and over and over again, and it really just comes down to timing. is you get these sideways moves, you get expansion, you get retracement. You get sideways moves, some are long, some are bigger than others. Expansion, sideways, retracement, or expansion, sorry. Retracement, sorry. Consolidation, expansion, retracement, and then boom. So we can hang out right here for a minute. This is a big move from the Bears today. This is a big, big move. They showed up. They really did their job today. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of sounds like gibberish and stuff, but that's how I look at this stuff. Okay. We're below the roundy. I don't think they can do it. I think dip buyers are going to step in this afternoon. I think they're going to be like, all right, enough is enough. So let's talk about SPX. If we get a dip buy afternoon, some short cover in the afternoon, what does that start to look like for us? This is where we're at. We're at weekly pivot on SPX also. So let's say that they're going to go back to 66.50 if the 26 holds, or 40. We're going to say 40. So what you're going to do is go over here. At least this is what I do anyway. And you're going to grab the 66.40 call, which is cheap, super cheap right now. But you need it to, you're not just going to buy it. You need this thing to start to bounce a little bit. It's a buck. It might be worthless, honestly. But if they really try to move this thing higher, this thing will go back to 12 bucks. Like quickly. Here's how the same setup here. This is how the put set up today. Right at the first hour, 10:30. Yeah, $3 strike. Went to 20 bucks. And look, if they want to get really groovy to the downside, let's see what the 30 put looks like. I mean, that thing could revisit the 12 bucks. We'll see. We'll see. I don't really have anything here, you guys. MLJ, get the Whisper 2000. Remember that commercial? The Whisper 2000, the lady sitting in the restaurant listening to people next to her. That was pretty funny stuff. I don't mean to not, dance monkey dance here, but I don't have a setup, you guys. The 12's broken a couple times already. Did that test 06? That still hasn't tested 06. It's just chop fest. You guys don't remember that? Don't make me Google it. Yeah, the Whisper 2000, dude. There's some on eBay right now, as seen on TV. There's some on eBay right now. You can buy them for $19.95 pre-owned. The Whisper 2000. Yeah. Oh man. So I'm super dating myself, I guess. It's a eavesdropping device. It's a listening device. The commercials were hilarious. The two ladies talking at another table, this other lady eavesdropping. Hilarious. Okay, let's focus. We're missing everything. But look, does it make sense? I understand that that I do speak differently than a lot of other people. I do take for granted that most of you that join me in my sessions understand what I'm saying. And I get that some of you don't. So that's what I'm here for. I want to talk through it. The reason I trade live with you guys is because um, I'm cut from the cloth that I just want to show it to you. Because if there's a little translation issue, I'd rather just show you what I mean, right? And so look, here's another thing, right? You get this big move back down, and then it starts consolidating again. You get all this flurry of activity, and then it just pauses. So another leg in this market is coming. But it's honestly, it's your call as to which way. So on the so on this is the chart that this is the chart that shows all my entries. So what I've done here, Ron West is asking about the levels on the chart. So the gold levels are my entry points. So what I've done on the NASDAQ is this. I've isolated 100 points of price. Okay. Within that, I have 10 entry points. They're all fixed. These are the same levels that I've been using since the NASDAQ 4000. All these gold levels are entries, right? So the crux of what we do as a day trader is trying to figure out if we're going up or we're going down, right? So if we had a magic 8 ball that said we're going up, we would buy this with the understanding that we are risking 6 points here because that's the nearest point of risk. It's not a hard stop. Sometimes these levels will have to be engaged, right? Like this was a short and it went all the way up here, but it never broke through this one and it came back. Right. So my methodology is I put 2 contracts on any given time. So like here, I'll just show you. So if I'm buying the 96 here, I'm taking one of the contracts off for +5. At which point I will leave one contract left, but I will have a stop at my entry point, which means I'm at even. I can't lose money anymore. So what you're seeing on the screen to answer your question is I have fixed entries and fixed risk markers. It is a way that I navigate the tape. And all that we are doing, I'm going to go back to this chart here. All that we're doing is going from one inflection point. So I consider the 50 and the 0 inflection points. So we go from one to the next, and then we make a decision. Are we going to rotate back up towards this? Or are we going to rotate back down towards this? We use overall price action in terms of context to tell us. And guess what? Like I've been saying, it's telling us nothing. It's telling us to flip a coin. And that's not, you don't have an edge by flipping a coin. So I'd rather see it break out of this consolidation or down. Like I don't have a problem buying it up here higher. Because right here, all it's doing is just getting you the first part of the trade and then stopping you out. If you really have an interest in this, this is where my class is. If you're a member of TheoTrade, you have access to this. I got an email the other day about this. I shared this. Like, well, do you have an updated class? This is 5 years old. I don't. You know why? Because nothing's changed. Absolutely zero has changed. So I'm not going to like put a whole class together just because. So that's where I would start. So for me, Lewis asking about weekly pivot, if if we close our candle today, the daily candle above weekly pivot, the bulls, the dip buyers have the ball. Whether they can do anything with it, I don't know, but it's theirs. You saw last week, the low of the week was the weekly pivot for the ES, right? So in terms of like longer time frame stuff, this, based on the thesis this morning, this became a target. Honestly, if I were short underneath the weekly open, my target was really only 750. It just accelerated right through it. This is the action you want to see on a weekly pivot right here. Yeah, these levels are I draw these levels and they're the same for every 100 points. But all of my charts, I just showed you guys where to find it. I'll show you again here. Every single chart that I refer to in my sessions is located right here in the TheoTrade library. So I'll give you a link to that. Oh, no problem. It's all good. All good. So right here, like if you wanted that hourly chart, whoops, that's right here. And these are all Thinkorswim charts, by the way. If you're on a different platform, just shoot me an email, support@TheoTrade, and put it to my attention. And I might have a chart for your platform. So the other platforms that we have charts for are Ninja and Sierra. We'll probably do some Sierra trading tomorrow. I will be on, by the way. I think I will. I don't know. But I think I will be on tomorrow morning early. Well, yeah. Yeah, Lewis, you don't have a weekly pivot from this week because this week is still going, right? So in order to calculate weekly pivots, what did you do? What I do anyway, my routine on a Sunday night with my favorite beverage is go back to this weekly bar and add the high plus the low plus the close and divide it by 3. That's where I come up with this number right here. So you're always trading last week's pivot because that's the full week of data that you have. Now, if you wanted to trade a daily pivot, I don't calculate daily pivots. I use the pivot points study. We might have a trade here. And that's this right here. And it maps out where the daily pivot is. So where is our daily pivot? I think it's up here. Yeah, daily pivot is all the way up here, 24,879. Doesn't really tell us anything, right? Other than the fact that it went full resistance this morning at the bell. Nothing we could really do there. See how price came into daily pivot? You see how daily pivot, that's the purple line here. Daily pivot lines up with an entry point. So if you were going to say, hey, this is daily pivot, they should support it. Your long is 77 right here. You follow me? So hang on one second. Oh, bears. They're going to roll over here. Let me find that one second here, Cindy. I'll share some stats with you guys. The first 30-minute candle of the New York session, if it opens red, it has a 67% chance of closing red. Green, 73%. Longer time frame. Hour bars have an 80% chance of closing and determining on what color they close at. So if we go look at the first hour bar, and this is the rub, right? What is the first hour bar? Is it the 6 a.m. bar or is it the 7 a.m. bar? Or is it the 9 a.m. bar or the 10 a.m. bar if you're on the East Coast? Either one, they're both red. So they should sell this market down. There's an 80% chance we close red today. That's like Captain Obvious stuff right there. And by the way, this company that does this is called Edgeful. They really have some great stuff. You can put any variables you want in here. Like these are open candle continuations. They're based on a 30-minute candle. So what's today? Wednesday, 75% red day. That's where we're at. So Lewis, right now, weekly pivot is support. So right now, dips could get bought, right? You could buy dips here. Let's let this candle close. I'm not opposed to buying it. Tell you what, let's buy it. Let's buy the 18 here. And we want to see if it can go back up here to 33. Now, I don't trust this thing very much. It needs to go. Actually, let's stick with this. This thing is like super slow here. Yeah, this is a mess, you guys. So what I'm going to do here, I really don't like this. I'm going to put a hard stop at 15. It's kind of now or never. This has got to go right here. So I'm going to risk 3 handles here. We need a higher high because it's not liking this 22 level right here. And I don't want to get caught up in some junk. I think if it's going to go, it's going to go. We'll get a 26 out of this. But back through this area, we're going to go back down here and potentially fail. We have a higher low. We need a higher high. Get to the chopper. What numbers, Michael? That's from the mentorship. That's our 0 DTE class from the mentorship. Which I think you were in it, right? Yeah, I don't. It's this doesn't feel like it wants to rip at all. Edgeful is you have to pay for it. So Lewis, there's 2 symbols. You have ADSPD, which is the S&P 500, and ADNDD, which is NASDAQ. Whoops. Yeah, I should have held it anyway. 26, I mean, yeah. Let's try it one more time. Let's see if they want to do it. So I'm just going to go even stop when it touches the 22 here. If we're right, if we can get one more test, I think it breaks through. Okay, we got to even stop. Let's front run that 26 right here with a 25. Here, let's take a +6 at 24. So we got +6 on this. Now let's look around. Where could this go? Probably 33. Let's choose 33 as an exit here and see if we can get 15 points out of this trade. Now, the way that we're going to get there, you guys, the way we're going to get there is if we close above this 26. If we close above the 26, it should reach up to 33. The reason I like 33 as an exit for my golden setup, folks, because remember, when we came down here from 50, 26 did not see a 33. That means it's kind of left hanging. We should go get it. Be kind of cool if it did, right? We should go get it. Let's go get it. Right? We need a 28 here. Don is probably listening somewhere going, what the heck is this dude talking about? It was funny. Like when I first, so Don found me. Don recruited me. He found me and brought me to TheoTrade. And the first time I presented here at TheoTrade in 2016, the crowd did not go wild. The crowd did not like what Tony had to say. They're like, where did you find this guy, Don? Where did you find this guy? So needless to say, I got one day in, and there just a lot of feedback, not good feedback. We don't know what the guy's talking about. He speaks a different language. I still do. And then Don said, hey, maybe it's not a fit, something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. And so I wasn't on the next day. And so in that time slot, everyone's like, where's that guy? Bring him back. We want to laugh at him or we want to learn from him. And here I am. And I haven't left since. Knock on wood. All right. Looks like they might come get us here, stop us out. That's my TheoTrade story. Yeah. So 26 is too much for it. Yep. And the NASDAQ was at 40, like 4,500. Yep. And Mark says, and we still laugh at you. Some of you are laughing with me, though. That's all that matters. Lewis, my zero DTE, the extent of which that I teach it is in my mastermind. I don't have a class for it. So, who was I speaking to earlier? Was Rob or Ron? So Ron West. Did you see the methodology that I just did? So I put the trade on, right? I put the trade on. I took risk out of the trade, right? So I took risk out of the trade. Basically, I took a -3 here, and that's 6 because it was -3 times 2. And then I took a +6 here. So basically flat. But the logic that I subscribe to is that if I'm in the right trade, it's not coming back. But if it comes back, I don't want it. So I get stopped out at even and I walk away with a net positive trade. Right? And that's, and so I'm not, like I said, I'm not kind of looking for lightning in a bottle. I know the product that I trade, it's the NASDAQ, and it rips. It will absolutely, when it gets directional, it can move. I mean, this moved all the way this morning, you guys, from 900, right? What's basically the 899. So from 900 all the way down to 627. We get directional in the NASDAQ, this thing moves. So if we're in the right trade and it materializes into a bigger move, we got a nice move on our hands. But there again, if we're not, we don't want it. There's no reason to let a green trade turn into a red trade. Well, number one, Mighty R, number one, I was just trying to stay out of this kind of chop zone right here. Well, it's really this. So I said I wanted to buy it higher. In this area, it was kind of like a coin flip. So I was willing to buy it higher. Secondary to that, go back to our trusty signals here. Of course, I don't have it open. We had a trade signal that said we were going higher right here. From the round level, we had a 2-minute close above 12 that seeks a 26 and a 33. I used a secondary entry point above the 12 with a target of 33, but it didn't make it. From the round level, bar close above 12. From the round level, bar close above 12. And some of you guys are short, we're short 26. So remember, these signals, and the reason we short 26 is because there's a very big probability, high probability that it does this. So we still have a target owed above with the 33. So there's still, the bulls still have an advantage here above the 12, above the 24,712. And so when I put this chart on, it shows us a clear entry point. Remember, all the gold levels are entry points and the risk. You see how this pokes through your risk marker, but yet closes above it? These are very stressful trades because you have to kind of just say to yourself, so look, I'll just frame this out for you. Long 18 means the stop is down here. So when this thing's, coming in like this hard, you're like, I'm going to get stopped out. You have to remind yourself what the setup is as you stay in the trade as long as the 12 holds. Now, this probably would have engaged an escape hatch for those that know what I'm talking about. There's our 33, you guys. Stinkers, they went without us. And this is an impulse bar now. There's absolutely no reason to jump in front of this. Right? When you recognize an impulse bar like this, there's absolutely no reason to say, I'm just going to sell it. I'm going to counter trend trade that. Right? Now we've got a new signal. Now we've got a new signal. So let's talk about it. We just came from that 12 level. Remember, it didn't break, right? Now we have a close above 33. So now we're owed the 50. So this tells me we're going back here. What I like to do, I can see it without doing what I'm about to do for you. What I like to do is see where my halfway point is from this move. It's 23. What does that tell you? That tells you we're going to buy 26 against 23 holding, and the line in the sand for us is like 19 right here. You guys understand that? And if it just keeps going to the target, you're going to miss it. Is this a day that you want to chase longs? So Lewis, everyone that said yes has memorized these levels. So if you're an NQ trader, you know this. So you see this 26 right here? What's the risk? So if I'm laying out the setup, okay, if I'm telling you that the setup is long 26, the first thing that we need to do when we determine where the entry on our chart is we need to determine where risk is. We're risk managers, right? So on the outset, the risk is already fixed, meaning right here is your entry point, long 26 versus 22. The versus means as long as 22 holds, you stay in the trade. Long 18 versus 12. As long as 12 holds, you stay in the trade. That's what just happened here. Long 18, the 12 held. If it comes back to 26 here, 22 is our risk. So when I look at this from a Fibonacci standpoint, that all lines up. The 382 pullback is 26. The halfway back is 23. So this is all like a big old stupid support zone right here. You follow that? Bar closing above. That's what means holding. 2-minute candle. I use a 2-minute candle for everything. As long as the 2-minute candle closes and holds above the 12, your risk is good. The trade is still good. Like this. If you bought 88, as long as the 82 holds, you stay in the trade. Yeah, disaster stop is another word for emergency stop. So the way that I frame out all of my trades is I try to look for 20-point moves, right? So let's see if I can articulate this well enough for you guys. And we got Corey coming on, or Garrett coming on next. So right now, if I buy 26, can I see my way into a 20-point move? What is 20 points away from 26? Let's do some math. Hello. 46, right? What did we say was owed to us based on the signal? 50. Guess what, you guys? And then we drew that fib. If this 26 bounces to 46, we get our plus 20. It continues on to the 50, and Bob's your uncle. We have fulfilled the target. Right? That's the whole point of it. I will call stuff on the fly as well. For instance, like what I just did earlier when I moved the exit to 33. I moved it to 33 because 33 can shut everything down. Does that make sense, Lewis? Kind of, sort of. And so if we're looking for 20-point moves, we can execute them a couple different ways. I like to execute my trades. Garrett, I know you're in the queue here. I like to execute my trades by taking a +5 and then a +20. The emergency stop is 15, right? And so this is only 25 points. This is 30. Uh-oh, we have a risk-reward ratio that's off. Maybe, maybe not. Let's say that you don't do this. Let's say you take +20 times 2. Now you're on the other side of it. Let's say that, in this, I took a +6 on this one. Let's say that you do a +10 and then a +20. Now you're 1 for 1. That's all I look for. Why do I look for that? Because 2 of those trades a day, easier said than done, by the way, but 2 of those trades a day equals 50 points. Why is that important? Well, The NASDAQ pays $20 per point. That's our roadmap to a $1,000 day. Right? And so here's the question. That sounds cool, Tony. You can do math. We're proud of you. Right? What do you want? A cookie? Why is that important? It's important, you guys, because it's feasible and it's attainable every single day, regardless of how the market's trading. Today, you could have cleaned up if you just got short. You could have done more than 50, absolutely more than 50. But on any given day, we can see our way into those 2 trades that make us 50 points. They all add up, Lewis. So on the trades that give us the risk out portion, the +5 or the +6 or the +8, whatever we determine that to be, if we get stopped out, and I've got a slew of those today, +5 out, +5 out, +5 out, +5 out. Guess what? They all add up. And if they all add up to 50, then I remove myself from the market. All right. And I don't want to take any more of Garrett's time. We should go retest the 750 from below here by the close. If it punches back underneath this round level, that puts this weekly pivot right back on the table. All right.
That works.
All right. I'm going to give you guys over to Garrett. Everybody have a fantastic evening. And I will catch you guys later. I guess we'll stop share.
I got it.
It is all yours, sir.
Thank you, Tony. Have a great day. I hope you're doing well.
All right, man. You too.
All right, everybody. We're heading into the final hour of today. And what is this chart telling us?